Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Josie Ortegon. Developing now, you're taking a live look here in Paris. Thousands of people in France are gathering for the Unity March. This is in light of the aftermath of the terrorist attacks that left 17 people dead. Now, the nation is on high alert ever since a hostage situation at a kosher supermarket in eastern Paris on Friday. The attack on the magazine's offices last week. In both instances, police killed a terrorist. Video has since been surfaced of one of the attackers pledging allegiance to ISIS. Leaders from Turkey, Russia, Jordan, Israel, and the Palestinian Authority plan to stand in solidarity with the French president today during the rally. And of course, we will continue to bring you live updates throughout the show. And if you're just joining us now or just waking up this Sunday morning, El Pasoans throughout the borderland woke up to heavy fog. And take a look. Our round-the-clock news crew shot this video earlier this morning just before our show. This is near Artcraft in West El Paso, and we will continue to see this heavy fog throughout the borderland for at least another maybe 30 minutes. This is a look at I-10 and Artcraft. Crystal Cly, Storm Track meteorologist Crystal Cly, is standing in for Dan Martinez this morning, and she has more details. Hi, Crystal. Good morning.
Hi, Josie. Good morning. We are looking at those foggy conditions spreading through much of the county and in areas north of us. Let's take a look on your map here. Our weather alerts. We have a dense fog advisory in place put out by the National Weather Service through 9 a.m. this morning. Now, that means that at least through 9 a.m. we are looking at foggy conditions. Likelihood is it'll extend into that 9 to 10 a.m. hour, but it's the areas with the lighter fog that will start seeing lifting. The more dense fog starting to get a little lighter. The reason for that, sunshine heating up the surface air and drying out some of that moisture, meaning that we will see the dew point and the actual temperature spread from each other and the fog start to dissipate. Here's a look at our clouds and radar map. You can kind of see where the fog is, but we are not getting a great look at the fogginess from this map. It is over much of El Paso County now. We've been getting a lot of reports, but especially in the upper and lower valleys where we are seeing a little more moisture content. As for our temperatures outside, we've warmed just a tad. We're at 34 at the War Eagles Museum and 35 here at the KVIA studios, but most of us have been sticking steady to those 30s. 35 Tech H2O Center with winds about 5 to 10 miles per hour currently. Those winds won't be a big factor today, but we will be breezy starting tomorrow. That's because rain chances move in. I've got your future track model a few minutes away.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Again, as Crystal mentioned, please be cautious if you are headed out the door this morning. And an Albuquerque police officer is fighting for his life after a minor drug bust went terribly wrong. Police say an undercover sting ended with a lieutenant opening fire on a fellow officer. That officer is in critical condition and has gone through multiple surgeries. The chief of police says the officer is alive because of a quick response of paramedics.
I'd like to thank the Albuquerque ambulance. Those paramedics saved his life. They did everything they could to make sure that he arrived here. And we can't say thank you enough to the trauma team here at the University of New Mexico Hospital. It just so happened that the two best trauma surgeons that most of us know by name were here to take care of our officer.
Why the lieutenant fired his weapon, police say the investigation could take several weeks. Turning now to the latest on the officer-involved shooting that left one man dead Friday night. The shooting happened shortly before 10 on the 4400 block of Tetons in northeast El Paso. Police talked to ABC 7 about the shooting. ABC 7's Jerry Nájera has more.
Police say this started as a simple routine stop that took a tragic turn. But with this being one of several acts of hostility towards police this year, we asked the question, are we seeing a trend in police defiance?
9:49 this evening, officers assigned to the Northeast Regional Command were conducting a traffic stop.
Police say two officers in one patrol car stopped a driver because of an expired registration sticker. While one officer was interviewing the driver, they say the passenger got out of the car with a gun. The second police officer asked the passenger to drop the weapon. Police say he did not drop the weapon and began yelling at the officer.
One of the officers discharged their weapon, striking the suspect one time.
The passenger died at the scene. This isn't the first time El Paso police come across hostility like this. In October, Officer Mike Garcia was shot roadside by a man allegedly involved in a murder-suicide. He survived. A short time later, Constable Robert White died after a fight while working security for a haunted house. In Seattle, 2 officers were ambushed on New Year's Eve. In December, 2 officers were killed in New York. So we asked the question, do some feel there's a trend in people defying police?
Not really. I don't think that.
But some do.
Yes, I'm starting to see that a lot more.
I've seen an influx in the defiance of police, especially with what happened in the Northeast.
Many refer to the Eric Gardner incident in New York and the Michael Brown incident in Missouri.
People are losing hope in police.
Others have their own ideas.
I think a lot of the younger kids nowadays think they can do whatever they want without being told what they need to do.
But many agree defiance of police is not the answer for better relations between cops and citizens.
In order for our society to function, we need to have certain rules, regulations, and somebody that takes care of those rules and regulations.
I hope that things get better for us as a society and we can appreciate the police and the police appreciate the citizens.
I spoke to some law enforcement officers off camera and they tell me they do feel there has been an increased defiance. Some feel it's a trend created through social media. Reporting for Good Morning El Paso Weekend, I'm Jerry Nájera.
Thank you, Jerry. And turning now again on the latest in Paris, the investigation into the terrorist attacks continues. Yesterday, there's word that a key suspect left the country before the attacks occurred. Also, new allegations that one of the dead terror suspects may have had ties to the so-called underwear bomber. Mary Maloney reports.
The single remaining publicly identified suspect of the French terror attacks is not in France, according to a source close to the Turkish Prime Ministry. Ayet Boumediene is wanted by authorities in connection with the shooting death of a police officer Thursday. The source says the Turkish police are tracking Boumediene's movements in Turkey and that she entered Turkey on January 2nd, before any of the terror attacks that left 17 victims dead. Another source close to the French security services says she is likely bound for Syria. Also Saturday, a Yemeni journalist tells CNN the so-called underwear bomber was once a roommate of one of the attackers in the rampage on Charlie Hebdo, a French satire magazine. The reporter says Saeed Kouachi lived with Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalib in Yemen. CNN is unable to verify the report. Abdul Muttalib is in prison in the U.S. for trying to take down an airliner bound for Detroit in 2009. Police killed Saeed and his brother Sharif Kouachi in a standoff Friday. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls says France is fighting a war for its way of life.
It is a war against terrorism, against jihadism, against radical Islamism.
While the investigation continues, people all over France are holding marches and rallies, trying to heal while the country mourns the victims. I'm Mary Maloney, reporting.
And moving on, in addition, additional security measures are planned for unity rallies in Paris today. 1,100 troops are currently in the Paris region. About 250 more will be on duty. Now, here in the borderland, it was a celebration of life yesterday for 7-year-old Carlos Martinez after he lost his life in a tragic sledding accident this past week. ABC 7's Iris Lopez spoke with family and friends as they remembered a little boy who left a big impression on so many lives.
This book, I would read it to him all.
Carlos Martinez was a boy who had many interests, and reading was one of those interests. His mother, Lizette Chavez Castillo, shared with us a book that she had promised her son she would read to him every night. Today, his small red casket, decorated with football ribbons, was surrounded by family and friends of Carlos. He lost his life following a tragic weekend sledding accident in Cloudcroft. Carlos was remembered as a boy who would make others want to be a better person.
And I was always amazed every time I would talk to him because, you know, he was so smart and he was so quick and witty, and, you know, I wanted to be like him because he was fast.
Another interest of Carlos's was football. He played for the Outlaws youth football team, and his speed on the field helped him earn the nickname Mighty Mouse.
You know, one of my coach's sons, you know, looked at him and said, "Hey, coach, you know, This kid, he's fast and he's small and he's strong. So ever since then, we just came with the nickname Mighty Mouse.
Carlos's father told me stories of how his son would cling on his back and tell him how much he loved him.
When a child tells you, I love you, please respond back to him, because if from the bottom of his heart, these children are so innocent that that's exactly what they mean.
Although today was a day to grieve a loss, Carlos's mom held her head up high, wearing her son's favorite red heels, and said that her loss is no reason for others to feel sorry for her. Instead, she wants parents to remember one important thing.
As a mother, I can just ask for you guys to love your kids. That's all I could say, and love them. I know we're tired and we have busy days and we just don't have time or feel that we don't have time. But God will give you the strength. God's given me the strength. And
that was ABC7's Iris Lopez reporting. Carlos's mother told ABC7 she wants to warn parents of the dangers for young children in snow. The Outlaws youth football team has set up a GoFundMe account to help the family with funeral expenses. If you'd like to help, we've provided a link over at our website at KVIA.com. Still ahead on ABC7's Good Morning El Paso, cleanup underway after 100 vehicles crashed due to winter weather conditions. We have the details coming up. And in Storm Track weather, Crystal.
And we are tracking some foggy conditions out there this morning, making it a little tough to drive outside. We're going to take a look at where the fog is now with some of your traffic cameras. We'll also be talking about a more pleasant afternoon. That's coming up after your break.